Good afternoon. This is Senator Skylar Howell, and I'm here
with Andrea Gaitan.
and this is the SGA Insider. So, before we start off this program, I want to first introduce ourselves to our new listeners. And we'll start off with you, Senator Gaitan. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into SGA and why you got into SGA?
Of course, so currently I serve as your Senator at Large Edinburgh here at UTRGV, and I started off my journey here at the Student Government Association as an intern. So I came in during the spring of 2023, and I actually received an email from the Student Government Association, and to my knowledge, they sent out an email in the beginning of every semester, basically, introducing who they are, what they do. So I got in through the first year internship program, and from there, it actually started my journey through the Student Government Association. And from there, I was able to kind of leap into different positions. So starting off as an intern, I went to a senator for the College of Business position to the position I have now, which is senator at large for Edinburgh.
Awesome. I actually have a very similar path to you. For those who don't know, me and Andrea both went into the first year internship program, and I think that was our first introduction to SGA. I got an email around December for the applications. I think they were due in January, and really I had no idea what SGA was, but I saw that it was a first year internship, and I had seen some flyers around campus regarding SGA, so I was interested, and I did the application and I went through the program. I recommend it for everyone. It was an amazing experience. You learn a lot about SGA, about professionalism, leadership, writing legislation. All those sorts of things are important once you get into SGA. So once, of course, the program was over, we went ahead and I submitted an application to join the Student Government Association in fall of 2023. And it just so happened that me and Andrea both applied around the same time because I believe in the Senate meeting where you, of course, have to present yourself and give yourself approval to be in SGA. She was also in that Senate meeting, so it's funny we kind of applied at the same time as well. And just like Andrea, I had also started in the School of Business. I wanted to represent the School of Business. My major is entrepreneurship, so I figured it was a good way to represent the College of Business. And after a year of doing that, I decided I wanted to represent more people and I wanted to make my impact on a larger scale. So when it came for elections, although I wanted to stay at the College of Business, I felt like the next step up naturally was to represent the entire campus of Edinburgh. So I went ahead and I applied for election, and Andrea did too. And well, luckily for us, we won our election. So we're here right now, able to serve you. So I want to ask you, Andrea, what for you made you want to go from the College of Business to represent all of Edinburgh?
I think just as you mentioned, also just wanting to represent a bigger college, and I'm a very firm believer of, at least in terms of SGA, it's not what you get while you're here, but it's what you give. And I think it was just a very natural leap to want to, you know, especially being here in Edinburgh, you talk to different students, you go to different student organizations, and you hear their concerns and you hear their ideas and their initiatives. So you just, I guess, in a natural way, you want to be able to help them. So I think Senator at Large is a very good position, and I'm very grateful for, being here now, being able to represent, and also, I guess, just seeing the growth between you and I. We started as interns last year in spring, and now just seeing, the evolution, seeing the growth of everything that we have done. I think we've done a pretty good job.
Yes, I would say so. Hopefully, the student body would agree as well.
Let's hope so.
So far in your experience of SGA, what have you gotten out of it? And I know that's a very loaded question, so I can kind of ask you in terms of this year. So far, I know we're still kind of early in the semester, but based on this semester, what have you gotten out of SGA, and what have you seen it do for you as a person?
I would just say a lot of personal growth. And before I had come to UTRGV, I had no previous volunteer experience, no past work experience. I came from a very small town that did not have, I guess, a lot of opportunities when it comes to work, and especially, going into high school, being 14 to 17, there was really not a lot to do. And when I came in, I would say SG kind of opened the door for me to explore different opportunities. I did not see myself as a leader coming in to the Student Government Association. It was never something on my mind. It was never, I guess, a potential that I saw in myself. And with the resources that the Student Government Association offered and working with other senators, I guess that's where I saw growth in myself. So from what I've been getting out of this was just a lot of opportunity growth and a lot of personal growth. So I'm very, very thankful for that.
I would say the exact same thing. I think the leadership aspect you get out of it, you can't really emulate it anywhere else in another organization here on campus. Of course, we have tons of different organizations for different purposes, but for me, if you want to develop yourself as a leader, what better way than to join the organization that represents everyone?
Exactly.
And so I think oftentimes you get out what you put in. And so I believe I've put in a lot of time and effort into what I do. And I've hopefully I'm seeing the results of that. I know I'm a lot more confident. I'm able to communicate a lot better. And I'm able to feel more proud of my campus, really, because from a student to senator, there's a difference in how you feel about the university, whether you're attending it versus you're now representing it. There's a difference. And so I think you can feel that difference. And so I'm glad that this organization's been able to provide that for me. And I think that's a perfect jumping off point to our next segment, which is going to be the Senate meeting highlights, which we will go over after a quick commercial break. And we are back. So this past Friday, we had our Senate meeting, of course. Our Senate meetings take place every 2 weeks. We alternate between Brownsville and Edinburgh. That way we can really get the representation from both campuses. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is give a summary of what pretty much happened during the Senate meeting. And we can go into afterwards some details and what really stood out to us as senators. So our first segment of the Senate meeting was the petition of students. We normally don't get petition of students, and so this Senate meeting was no different. We didn't have anything there. We did have a very important guest speaker. We had the Director of Parking and Transportation Services, Pablo Aguilar. Now, of course, parking is one of, if not the issue or the hot topic of the semester, and I think it's for a few semesters. So it was important that we get that guest speaker here. And so some things that stood out to me, he stated that this year they saw a 2% increase in parking demand compared to last year. He did mention that the Harlingen situation or the Harlingen parking spot helped kind of decrease the demand for parking, since that kind of added some more parking space in the Harlingen campus. He was also very happy to report that there was no parking permit rate increase from last year, and that there has not been a parking permit rate increase since 2018. Of course, a few weeks ago, there was some situations happening there at the Harlingen parking spot, and he went ahead and he did admit some challenges in the Harlingen bus pickup area due to the bad weather. However, they did state that they will be very proactive during future situations, and now they have negotiated use of the pavilion, which is a spot in the Harlingen pickup area that actually has some shade. And they did negotiate it with whoever they needed to negotiate it with, and now that will be, students will be able to use that whenever the weather is bad. He also promoted mobile pay, which is a contactless way to pay for parking. I believe it's a QR code. That way, with the ever-evolving technology, students can just scan a QR code and pay for their parking on the spot. Next up, we did have the president's report, which was with Vice President Juana Jimenez. She stated that they had a meeting with the parking department, and they are looking to schedule meetings with IT, library, and auxiliary. Next up, we had the advisor's report, and actually there was a report on the program we spoke about earlier, the first-year internship program, and the advisor's report that they have 21 FYI applicants for fall 2024. That is a very large number. I'm sure it's larger than when we started, so that's good to hear. They also did announce a social media contest happening on SGA's Instagram. So everyone go to, on your Instagram, at UTRGV SGA, and check out the contest happening now. Next up, we had the standing committee reports. Nothing to report on academic affairs. For campus life and community affairs, the committee that me and Andrea are in, the chair Jimena did announce that they are planning an event called Meet the SGA Representatives and a canned food drive. When we have more updates on the Meet the SGA Representatives event, we will definitely go ahead and update you all. For financial affairs, there was nothing going on either. And for internal affairs, they're just continuing to review new applicants for SGA. We had no unfinished business. And for new business, we had two very important updates. The first update is the appointment of the new senator for the School of Nursing, now Senator Kip Koch. This was unanimously voted to approve the appointment, and congratulations to Senator Kip Koch for being welcomed into SGA. The next important update was the presentation of the SGA 2025 operating budget. This was presented by Vice President Jimenez, and there was a little bit of a Q&A to answer some questions, but after that, the budget was voted on and approved. And if you want a full breakdown of the budget, you can go to my Instagram, Senator_Schuyler, and that'll have the full breakdown of the budget. Next, and finally, we just had the comments and announcements, which is just the oath of office that the Vice President administered to the new Senator Kip Koch. So, Andrea, after all this recap, I know you were there present at the Senate meeting as well. What stood out to you from this Senate meeting?
Well, first off, I want to give a really big congratulations to our new appointed Senator, Esther Kip Koch. I was very impressed with her personal statement. And when we have a student coming in that is with the expectation to get appointed, he or she is brought in and they give a statement on why they feel they are the best candidate for this position. And I was really impressed by her way of speech, her background experience. So first off, I want to give just a really big congratulations to her. I'm pretty sure the School of Nursing is going to have a lot of great things, and I am very excited to be able to work with her for this academic term. Okay, secondly, our guest speaker, Director Pablo Aguilar, we were very grateful for the changes that he was able to make. As Senator Schuyler had mentioned, now the Harlingen transportation for this academic term now stops at the Clinical Education Building and then to the soccer complex. So from what I've heard from students, they are very grateful for this type of change that was being made because there was a very high parking demand. And I think as students, there's a lot of focus on the Edinburgh campus and the parking situations that we have here. And this has been going on for quite a while. So we were very grateful to see that, all campuses were being taken care of. So we also want to give a really big thank you to Director Pablo Aguilar. Was there anything else?
What stood out to me from the parking is the 2% number that was thrown out from last year compared to this year. Mm-hmm. I would have imagined it would have been a little bit higher.
Oh, yeah, me too.
If you take a look at the the Facebook group with the UTRGV students, or just in general, parking, like I said, is one of, if not the most talked about issue. And so I was a little surprised that it was only 2%. But he did clarify that they got that number from the actual, I believe, the parking permit purchases from last year compared to this year. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's how they define demand. But what did you think about that number? Were you also surprised, like myself, that it was only 2%, or was that expected from you?
I think I was expecting definitely a higher number. Maybe not as high as you would expect, but as we had mentioned, UTRGV in parking, there is usually some issues in regards to that. And, through the high parking demand and also the first few weeks of school, and I think we can all understand that the first week is very hectic. There are a lot of students. Let's say, for example, if you have a class at 9:30, which is right now the most popular time for a UTRGV class, students are coming in around 8:30, and there are still, having a little bit of a hard time finding parking. And I'm not really a big speech First about that because I don't park on campus.
Yeah,
I
okay.
get dropped off, so I think you can.
Yeah, as
You've
someone
experienced it.
someone who parks on campus, I can let you know it's always full. I last semester and last year I used to park at the baseball parking lot. There was no issues, but even now this year I'm having trouble.
Even at the
Yes,
really.
yeah. So I feel the, demand for parking. In fact, even during the meeting, I had brought up the question to the director. I asked him, well, has there been any discussion about increasing parking space on the Edinburgh and Brownsville campus? So, for those of you who don't know, the parking and transportation services are really focusing on investing in alternate transportation. So what that means is the Volt buses you see around, they're really investing their funds to try to make that as efficient as possible and promote it. That way, you can even wait in your car and text the Volt to go ahead and pick you up, and it'll take around 10 to 15 minutes, but they will go ahead and do that for you. And so, but I was curious about the discussion of just straight up expanding that parking space. I know it takes a lot of funds, and it takes a lot, but I figured I wanted to know where they were at on that. And what he told me and he told the Senate was that based they're going to go based on that parking demand percentage that I had gave earlier. So whenever that demand, I guess, shows an increase that's so much that they have to look at that option, that they will. But for right now, they're looking at other options. But he did say it's a possibility, which is what I like to hear. He was open to the idea, so I think maybe with the football team coming next year, there's going to be a lot. I anticipate there's going to be more demand, and with demand, I think the space should be coming. But it is very important to note, and I think all students should know this, is that if there is going to be a creation of more parking space, it will come out of your tuition. The tuition will raise. It will rise actually if there is an increase of parking space, and that was coming from the director of transportation. So I think students really have to ask themselves: are they willing to pay more out of their tuition to get an increased parking space? And I think that's something that the students should decide. But for right now, it doesn't look like that's the case. So, is there anything else on your end? How do you feel about the budget? Really quickly, how did you feel about the budget? Was there anything that stood out to you? Was the total amount, was it different than what you had wanted it to be? Talk to me a little bit about that.
I think it was completely fine. But now, actually, that we're mentioning, transportation, parking services, there is a quick reminder that I do want to give out to students because it's something that I've been noticing the past 5 weeks. Scooters, bicycles, hoverboards, all of those things are not allowed at the Bronx Trail, and I was a former scooter user the past 2 years of me being on campus.
For those of you who don't know, she was nicknamed the Scooter Girl
Oh,
around
no.
the campus. That's what everyone, that's what I knew her as at first. I said, "Hey, Scooter Girl," and everyone knew I was talking about Andrea. But yes, as a former scooter user herself, she has credibility on this topic.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, give that quick reminder because it is something that I've been seeing a lot on campus, and I don't know if there have been any reports on incidents, at least not within the Bronx Trail. I know going out of it, but once you actually get out of the Bronx Trail, that is free use as long as, the people driving and the people that are actually utilizing hoverboard scooters, whatever it is, as long as, who has the, who has the right of way. Yeah, so I just wanted to give, a very quick reminder to people, please be safe, especially at times like 10:45, which is what I believe, if class starts at 9:30, it ends at 10:45. All students are just leaving their classes. It is very packed at the Bronx Trail. So I'm just asking for both the users, one, please don't do it. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get yourself hurt. You're going to get someone else hurt. And it's just not nice to get stopped by campus police in regards to that.
No, awesome. And I think with that note, we're going to go ahead and transition into our next segment, which is going to be campus updates. But first, we're going to go into another commercial break. See you soon. And we're back. We're back with segment number 3, which is going to be campus updates. So there was a lot going on this past weekend, and I'm going to go over some of the more viral ones. And I'm, of course, referring to the ones on the Facebook and the Instagram. So the first one that really stood out to me was there is this student named Jonathan who is going to be doing an ice cream giveaway on October 31st in Halloween from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that's going to be at the Student Union in Edinburgh. I think anytime there's something free, students are very excited. But this student is taking the initiative to do a free ice cream giveaway to students here at UTRGV. And according to my research, he's done this before at his previous high school. So this is something that is not new to him. And it's a very great initiative, I think, to kind of booster up the Halloween spirit. Andrea, what do you think about this giveaway? And more importantly, the question everyone wants to know, are you going to be taking some ice cream?
Well, Jonathan had posted this, I believe, 3 days ago, and I was scrolling through UTRGV students, and as you had mentioned, he has not done this before. I don't know what grade he's in. I don't know what classification Jonathan is, but he did, with what he had posted, there is also a video that he made, which I don't think was filmed at UTRGV. It seems to be of a high school, so maybe he's been doing this even before he was a college student. So, to answer Skylar's question, yes, I will be getting ice cream, and we're not even in October. And I have seen a lot of, I guess, sneak peeks into like little Halloween events that UTRGV is going to do, but this was a very, I guess, nice individual thing that he is doing. And he did also say, if anyone wants to support him, they can message him or donate. So I believe he put his Cash App.
That is correct. And just to throw out a few numbers for you, so this post on the UTRGV students Facebook got 181 likes. And get this, for the video he posted, which was the preview of what I guess he was going to be doing here on campus, 6.8 thousand plays that video got. And I got over close to 7,000 times that video got viewed at the UTRGV students Facebook chat. So I think that really shows how excited people are for ice cream and for Halloween. So we wish him the best of luck. In fact, I messaged him. I said, if you need anything, let me know. I'm going to be there, and hopefully anything that we can do to help him out, we're going to go ahead and do that. Our next update, and this one got really crazy. If you had Spectrum this past weekend, you may or may not be a little mad right now. And as a Spectrum user myself, I had homework due that Friday, and it was going all well. And then all of a sudden, my Wi-Fi stopped working. And I thought it was just me. I thought it was just my area. So the first thing I do, of course, is I go on Facebook, right? Hey, is this happening to anyone else? When I tell you, everyone seemed like they had a power outage. It seemed like everyone had a Wi-Fi outage, excuse me. But it seemed like everyone, it was valley-wide. And I actually got famous. I posted this about this update with the Spectrum, and it ended up getting 245 reactions on the Facebook group chat. That's the most that I've ever gotten. And really, everyone was just kind of making jokes, and they were upset. We all kind of bonded in our trauma of the Wi-Fi situation. So let me ask you, Andrea, do you have Spectrum?
I do.
Are you going to continue to have Spectrum? And what was your reaction to the whole situation?
Well, even after this, I'm still a very loyal Spectrum user, so I don't think any of that was going to change. I was one of the lucky few that did not have homework due that day. All of my homework is always due at 11:59, but for those that had their homework due that day, I really hope that your professors were really generous with extending that timeline. I don't really know at what time this started. I'm gonna say maybe mid afternoon, maybe towards 4:30. I think it all ended up going out more or less at the exact same time, and I assumed it was going to come back in 15 minutes. 15 minutes turned into an hour or two, then I took a nap. Because I felt very, I guess, disconnected from the world, because I know people were still posting, and I know you managed to post something that went viral. I guess get your 5 minutes of fame here, Skylar.
It's still going viral. If y'all want to check it out, it's Senator Schuyler. Look up the UT students. You can go ahead and help add some more minutes of fame for me. That would be very much appreciated.
But yeah, what I don't understand though is I'm not sure if it was the Spectrum users that were posting on UTRGV students, but it was all still going through because I couldn't even get into Facebook. For me, it was still loading, and I don't think it came back until 11 p.m. that night. So it gave students a little bit less than half an hour to even turn in anything that they had to do. And for those that either have lockdown browser or just had already started with exams that even go past an hour, I wish you all a very late best of luck with however that went. But I think it was very understandable. This was not just a student issue. This was, families, even professors probably that had Spectrum couldn't access anything. So in regards to that, it's been one heck of a weekend for college students.
Yeah,
we'll
for
leave it at
sure.
that.
I actually just turned off my Wi-Fi and I guess off my data. It worked. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'll read you some of the comments here. Spectrum is mid. Someone said that they have never heard of grass before. So I guess this was their first time seeing grass now that the Wi-Fi was out. There was even some students recommending other providers. And I know that got some reactions as well. So yeah, this was a whole crazy situation, and I think we all kind of laughed at it and bonded over, I guess, how we react when we don't have Wi-Fi. You think to how it was in the days where they didn't have Wi-Fi, compared to us when we don't have Wi-Fi, and there's a crazy difference. But I'll leave it with this comment by Alejandra Camacho. It's not a complete semester without Spectrum outages.
Exactly.
I think that perfectly summarizes the college experience here at UTRGV. So next, we're going to go into Scantrons, and I'll let you kind of have the floor on this one. But Scantrons is another one of the topics that are talked about a lot in the group chat, and a lot of students ask, where can they get Scantrons? How much? What do they need them for? So I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Senator, and kind of explain, I guess, what you have to say regarding Scantrons.
Of course, it's been one of the most talked about topics on Facebook, and of course, one of the first places that you think of when it comes to actual Scantrons, it's always going to be the library. So there is a vending machine, and you can also purchase them inside the bookstore, and they're very cheap. I don't know how much, but last time I checked, I think it's a few cents, or at least if you can also buy them individually. But we also have free Scantrons that not a lot of students know about. So in the Student Government Association, we do give out free Scantrons, and just a very quick disclaimer: these are not unlimited. So we do have a limit to these. You can get up to 5 Scantrons a month. So you can choose either between Scantrons, Blue Books, or both. So for example, you can do 2 Scantrons, 3 Blue Books, or 1 Blue Book, 4 Scantrons. So it really just depends. So you can come for Edinburgh. We are located at the University Center in room 215. We are on the 2nd floor, and you can get those right there in front of our office. And for those that are in Brownsville, it is B Main 1.312. So if anyone is looking for free Scantrons, I know we are right at midterms door, and I've been losing track of time. I don't know if we're in week 5 or week 6. It's all been going by really fast, but I know midterms are already coming up. I know I have an exam tomorrow.
So you know where I'm going to be. Well, yes, exams are already coming up. And hey, if you stop by the SJ office in Edinburgh, maybe you'll see one of us. And we'll talk about you on the next radio show. But free Scantrons, I know a lot of students, they aren't aware of that every time that we mention it. But I think it's important to emphasize that the Student Government Association does give out free Scantrons up to 5 a month. And I know you had mentioned earlier that Scantrons are fairly cheap, but for college students, it makes all the difference in the world. So I think it's important that we go ahead and explain that to our students. And with that, is there any other update that you want to give that you've seen maybe going around campus, or maybe something you want to talk about, or is that pretty much it for from your end?
Well, I just want to give a quick reminder to students. We're actually in Hunger Action Month. So it is the month of September. So this is where all departments and colleges at UTRGV, we're being challenged to collect as many non-perishable foods as possible. So I believe that involves, canned foods. And this is going to be going on. It started on the 16th of this month and it will end on the 30th. So I believe that is next Monday. So this is the time frame that we currently have. And you are able to drop off all of your perishable items at your respective department for example, for us, we'd be going to the College of Business, and then that's where we would leave it. So for more information on this, you can look it up at the food pantry, and their Instagram is UTRGV Food Pantry, and I believe it's also that for their Facebook page.
And another, I love that you mentioned that, because it's a very important month as well, because it is Suicide Prevention Month, and I want to just kind of state to any student who may be going through something, or is having a hard time, UTRGV does have resources. There is a counseling center in Edinburgh and in Brownsville. And let me go ahead, and if you want to look up give them the locations of the counseling center. But it's very important that as students and even as people, we take care of our mental health. And I know with school, there's a lot of things that come with that: homework, time management. It's very hectic, and it can be a lot. But I think it's important to understand that you're not alone and that there is help available. I think for a long time there was this stigma about it, and people wouldn't like to talk about it. But luckily, I think with social media, we've kind of opened ourselves up more. And so, if you need help, there's always someone to talk to. And I'm glad to say UTRGV does have some resources. But even aside from the counseling center, friends, family, classmates, you don't need to talk to someone, a professional licensed therapist, right, or counselor to be heard. So I encourage anyone to, if they're going through something or just need to talk, reach out and say something. And with that, Senator Gaitan is going to go ahead and give you some of the locations for the resources.
Of course, for those that are in the Edinburgh campus, it will be the University Center. And if anyone is meaning to call them, which I believe it is their easiest way to be able to get in contact, along with email, and their email is counseling@utrgv.edu, and their phone number is 956-665-2574. And for those that are located in the Brownsville campus, it will be in BSTUN 2.10 956-882 3897. And when I had come in as a senator, this was actually one of my passion projects, and I am very grateful for the amount of students that I was able to, I guess, help guide, towards the counseling center. A lot of students, and especially we are not comfortable saying that we need help. And for all of those freshmen that have been reaching out to me privately, just know, please, that you're not alone, and the counseling center will always be there. If you ever need to speak with any of the senators, just know that the Student Government Association is always here to help you guys with resources.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and kind of brighten the vibes with a PSA and a good song that I personally picked out to kind of help the mood. And I hope you are enjoying the episode so far. And we'll be back for our outro, and we'll see you soon. And we're back. So this is pretty much wraps up our episode, but I wanted to ask you, Andrea, what did you think about this episode, and what do you see the future of the SJ Insider?
Well, I think we did a pretty good job. I don't mean to, I guess, toot our own horn, but I think we did very good. This was, I guess, an introduction or to, I guess, a pilot to, I guess what we'll be doing in the future, and we will try to give as much resources, updates as we possibly can. We are here to help, and I think when we had started the SJ Insider, it was all wrapping up to actually want to help students and want to inform students. So, yeah, hopefully...
We still have 7 minutes left.
We still have 7 minutes left.
Maybe we shouldn't talk too soon, but I completely agree. I think we did. I think we did good for our first episode. Of course, no bias, right? But I think we did good. And what I really hope for the future of this show is to continue to provide information to the students and also to let them know about the resources available to them. What I do want to start getting into is maybe Q&As where we can ask them questions on the Facebook group chat, and we can address them here on the radio show. And I think we'll in the future you'll see other senators come in and talk about their experience and what they have planned. I know in the next episode we're probably going to go into our legislative agendas, actually what we want to get done. Hopefully we can bring in other guest speakers, deans, student leaders. I think everything is a possibility now that we finally have a show that we can be able to express to the students. I think this is a long time coming, and in fact, we are waiting on an official legislation for this thing, and I think I'm confident that the Senate is going to push through this initiative. But don't worry, guys, we're not going anywhere regardless, but just stay tuned for that. And so, is there any last thing you want to tell the student body?
I would just say we, as being senators, we have our own, I guess, separate from SGA, our senator accounts where, for example, Skylar, you post a lot of highlights, a lot of, the Senate meeting highlights. So if anyone is wanting to, I guess, get more specific information, you're able to look at that. And can you provide your
Of
tag?
course. Thank you for the alley oop. I'll take it. So on my Instagram, it's going to be Senator_Skylar. And on my Facebook, it's also going to be Senator Skylar. And if you can always find me on the UTRGV Facebook group chat, UTRGV students. You'll see me on there a lot, commenting and posting. But for Instagram, just Senator_Skylar. How about yourself, Senator Andrea?
For me, it is Senator_Andrea Gaitan. That is the same for my Instagram and my Facebook page. And on my Instagram, I post a lot of my involvement on campus. I go to a lot of events. There's a lot of volunteer work there. That's kind of how I started. I think before the FYI program, I was big on volunteer on campus, especially through the Baptist Student Ministry. So I like to post a lot of that along with other resources. But yeah, other than that, I'm really excited for what the future holds for us moving forward. And we mentioned the senator highlights, campus updates, and then hopefully in the future the legislative agendas. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank everyone who is taking the time to listen to us today, or who will take the time to listen to us, because if you don't know, these recordings are going to be posted on the Vaquero Radio YouTube channel, so you can view them and listen to them at your own time while you're doing homework or while you're eating, or if you're just bored and have nothing else to do, you can go ahead and listen to us at the Vaquero Radio YouTube channel. And once again, I want to thank all our listeners, and let's close out. So this is Senator Skylar Howell, and I'm with
Senator Andrea Gaitan.
And this is the SJ Insider, episode 1 of many, hopefully. So let's go ahead and round this thing off with a PSA and then a nice song to close things out. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all next week.